Story 1. No, my vintage Tupperware super salad bowl with lid. That bowl is about 50 years old. You cannot replace it. It holds 2 gallons and is the perfect shade of green. No. Story 2. Dust and dead flies and mosquitoes, probably. They would be cleaning my house, basically. Story 3. Lucky them, they get a picnic basket containing my Go box full of cash and my grandfather's 45. Story 4. Most likely my fat lazy cat. After this fact, I would proceed to grab my pistol and shotgun and find them for a little talk. Story 5. Your dog's stolen squeaky toy. Finally found where it went. Story 6. The tortillas that someone can't manage to put back in the pantry. Hopefully now they will learn. Story 7. A half-empty bottle of Jameson whiskey. An electric copper griddle that will need a proper dusting before it is safe to use again. And a spatula that is too big for my utensils drawer. Story 8. Some low-quality garbage bags. I have told my father I do not want garbage bags that break when you have to throw something out, but I guess cheap is king. Story 9. No, all my paper plates and my llama-shaped Alexa dot stand. Story 10. Cholula has been there for a long time. I do not know who put it up there, but that is all we have besides dust. Consume the Cholula at your own risk. Story 11. Box of latex gloves, half a bag of stale marshmallows, a 3-year-old box of Girl Scout cookies, and the cookbook that came with the phone book a few years ago. Story 12. I have absolutely no idea. I am 5 feet tall and the refrigerator is much taller than that. Only the tall, lanky burglar knows what is or is not up there. Story 13. None. He tripped before he could reach the refrigerator. This startled the cat, which scratched the dog. The dog ran towards the refrigerator, but then noticed the jar of peanut butter had fallen from the refrigerator. I will let you finish the story, but somehow I think the burglar got hurt without any further trouble. Story 14. My cat just knocked down my French press coffee maker, sending shards of glass flying everywhere. So disappointed. Disappointment is on top of my fridge. Story 15. Nice try, burglar. I am not scoping my refrigerator out for you. Story 16. A set of Pawn Stars glass cups, 2 wooden ball and cup games, 2 or 3 Hot Wheels racetrack pieces, a handgun, a good flashlight, some earmuffs, and a popsicle stick reindeer. Story 17. He is getting an unopened bottle of Bailey's, a sparkling apple juice bottle, and a half bottle of 2019 Chianti. Story 18. Cheerios, potato chips, dinner tray, paper towels, and holder. Story 19. No salt substitute, parsley flakes, dill weed, 3 mostly empty cans of cooking spray, box of sandwich bags, an used pizza pan, part of a bottle of 70% rubbing alcohol, an empty screw-top plastic storage container. No profit for the thief. Better luck next house. Story 20. 2-gallon bucket with 3 years' worth of change and my FoodSaver vacuum sealer. Story 21. My box with assorted cables, some of which I actually use, a washing line I have not needed to install, a roll of bin bags, and a tub of protein powder. Story 22. My cookies. Also, an internet radio and Bluetooth speaker combo. Story 23. My ramen and all of the trays for my dehydrator, including the mesh ones and the solid ones. Story 24. Empty egg cartons and a roll of aluminum foil. I am devastated. Story 25. A never-used bag sealer, a set of knives, and a hammer. Story 26. Fly swatter and 2 small insulated lunch packs for my 3-year-old twins. Story 27. A cooler bag, a notebook, a pack of 4 spoons I never bothered unpacking, and a spray-can-type foam extinguisher. Story 28. Some very greasy dust bunnies and keys to sister-in-law's apartment. She has been deceased for years. Story 29. Egg cartons I keep meaning to pass on to my friends with backyard chickens. Story 30. Multiple bags of protein powder and creatine with bottles of various vitamins and supplements. Story 31. An upsettingly expired bottle of vegetable juice. I am pretty sure I bought it during the pandemic. It is black now. Oh, and an Uwak Tiki mug from Oga's Cantina. Story 32. Some placemats, isopropyl alcohol 99%, and a unique Mulan figurine. Story 33. Miscellaneous fast food menus. Probably my chargers, and my scissors. I need those. Although they can keep the weird plastic ice maker that came with my refrigerator, I just use the old-fashioned trays. Story 34. A heavy brass preserving pan, an artificial plant, and some sticky dust. Story 35. Nothing. I do not store anything there, and I wipe it down at least once a week. Story 36. An old toy flatbed pickup truck with a working tilt bed and winch. My sewing kit, some tortillas, and some Swiffer dusters. Story 37. A jar of my grandmother's really old cookie cutters and a large container of Folgers coffee. Story 38. I would like to say dust. There are probably some cookies up there that either I or my roommate hid from ourselves and then forgot about because neither of us is tall enough to see up there without a stool. Story 39. Huge wok, a box of minute rice, and half a bag of probably stale croutons. Story 40. 3 packets of soy sauce from 2016 and an emergency chocolate bar that I swore I would never open. To be honest, I think the robber left more traumatized than I was. Story 41. Catnip, cat treats, a stand for a lemonade pitcher dispenser, a roll of adhesive tape, some fisherman's friends, and pieces of a broken vase that I should have fixed 3 years ago. Story 42. A very large Rubbermaid and Tupperware-style bowl with a lid and a Keurig machine. I would be much more upset about the bowl. Story 43. A few trophies and a voltage stabilizer with a lot of dust. Story 44. Bug bombs and a random kid science kit, solar robot, along with random papers I cannot remember what they are. Story 45. A can or 20 ounces of various Mountain Dews, past and present, also with some dust. Story 46. A small fire extinguisher that is 4 years past its expiration date. Story 47. There are a couple of empty containers there and a lot of dust because we do not use the containers. Story 48. Box of microwave popcorn on top of the popcorn buckets next to the paper towels. I need those. Story 49. My kitchen scales and the plastic cover used to microwave food. Story 50. $1 million. We keep 60 eggs there. It is our retirement fund. Story 51. A wooden cutting board, some empty ice cream boxes I use for storing food, a Lego set from my local supermarket chain Woolworths depicting the supermarket, and a box full of pistachio shells because I think they are neat. Story 52. Probably making a gourmet snack out of dusty flies and expired cereal. Who knew fridge tops could be a culinary playground? Story 53. Nothing. I hate clutter on top of refrigerators. I have been lucky in a condominium I own to build a large storage space there as an extension of the rest of the cabinets. But a standalone refrigerator? There is nothing on top of it. Story 54. Dog harness, leash, and poop bags. Teddy is going to be very excited. Story 55. My toaster can toast 4 pieces of bread at once. Give that back. Story 56. Disgusting plant-based protein powder, an old waffle maker, and a steamer basket. Story 57. A case of 24 water bottles and a stack of broken-down cardboard canned drink cases that I keep meaning to take to recycling but instead keep stacking up. Story 58. Loaf of bread, container of flavored drink powder, some slices of lemon cake, tortillas. Story 59. Today I learned I am the only one with trays piled up over the refrigerator. Story 60. A ceramic turtle wearing a straw hat and some Lego manuals. Story 61. An industrial 5 kilogram, 11 pounds, bar of milk chocolate that I keep forgetting is there. Story 62. Broken microwave, almost empty can of insecticide spray, many old dishwasher tablets since I do not have a dishwasher. Story 63. An America's Test Kitchen 25th Anniversary Cookbook and a large box of open gallon Ziploc bags. Story 64. My Staub Dutch oven is shaped like a pumpkin. Damn that thief. Story 65. My meat pan, aluminum foil, random Tupperware with mismatched lids, a .357 firearm, and an adult toy with a wooden handle. Story 66. At my dad's, there is a roll of kitchen paper and a microwave. At my mum's, there is a basket of bread. Story 67. Oatmeal, 2 empty plastic food containers, and a box of Cheerios. Story 68. Part of my wife's tumbler collection. She will be devastated. Story 69. Cabinet? There is a 1/8 inch gap between the fridge and a cabinet, so I guess that counts. Story 70. Half a bottle of vermouth, a lunchbox, and a cat who refuses to sit anywhere else. Story 71. Costco loot. Half a bag of basmati rice, pancake mix, Kirkland microwave popcorn, some shred dyes, and possibly granola depending on how quickly my children have been eating it. Story 72. At this exact moment, 13 pounds of Nescafe espresso whole bean coffee bags, 3 64-ounce ball mason jars, my Jarva cold brew vacuum coffee extractor pump kit that fits the mason jars. I hope they enjoy making a lot of self-extracted coffee. Story 73. Dust. Or possibly some random plastic containers if they raid the cabinet above the refrigerator. Story 74. Empty 1 dozen egg cartons to be refilled when I buy the Costco size eggs. Story 75. A China puffin that contains nothing but salt. I was given it and had nowhere to put it. It is lying down and has a lid with a compartment inside. I used it to store eggs, as burying eggs completely in salt makes them last for months before spoiling, even unrefrigerated. I was wasting money on eggs I could not eat in time because I live alone. However, I switched to using egg powder, which lasts a year and meets my needs. Now I just have a China puffin full of salt. Story 76. COVID-19 test kits from the previous tenants in the place I am renting. Story 77. They are getting dog treats. At least my dogs will love them. Story 78. The very large Hogwarts Lego set, as it was the only place it would fit. Story 79. Some disposable eating utensils that my mother kept for decades but never used. Story 80. 5,654 pounds worth of plastic carrier bags, boxes, and an ice cooler. I moved on Saturday and I am still unpacking. Story 81. Well, my cat is going to be very upset. Even if she is not up there, they will be stealing her bed. Since that is her napping spot, the only other things I have up there are the odd containers I keep to reuse occasionally. Story 82. A broken blender and a zero water container without a filter. Story 83. I need to move my cereal and cocaine now. They can have the rest of that stuff. Also, remember to take all those bread twist ties that I keep saving for some unknown reason. Story 84. A broken dog toy, a large package of waste bags for the dogs, and old chocolate bars. Story 85. Emergency candles, a box of matches, and my purple lunch sack. Story 86. Oh no, not my lifetime supply of plastic wrap. What shall I do? And they took the wax paper, parchment paper, aluminum foil, and butcher paper. Absolute degenerates. Story 87. Vitamins? I think a pack of dried mulberries from 2019 is practically an heirloom. Story 88. Oh no, they took my grandmother's old electric frying pan, and it's huge, my rice cooker, my bread machine, and a really cute set of decorative chickens I've had for 20 years. This is a bit too personal. Story 89. The chocolate chip cookies I just made. Oh, and my cookie jar. I keep a spare in the storage room in case the first one gets broken. Story 90. Most of the ingredients for Rice Krispies treats and a roll of bagels. Story 91. Half a box of expired Jats biscuits and 2 half bags of expired lime and cracked pepper Red Rock chips. Story 92. Old serving dishes. They are elegant but badly chipped and faded. Story 93. My variety pack of Sun Chips and 2 boxes of cereal. I will be disappointed that they stole them, but glad they are making healthy choices. Story 94. The fridge top is basically my shrine to forgotten snacks. They are stealing my soul one snack at a time. Story 95. A set of children's board books and a box of cereal. Poor person. Story 96. A broken cat toy. It's the only place she cannot reach until we fix it. Story 97. A box with bottles and cans with a deposit on them, so probably €6 worth of loot. €3 for the box and €3 for the bottle deposit. Also some dust bunnies. I would be fine with that if they cleaned the top of my fridge. Story 98. Some cardboard boxes I am saving for my hamster, our medications, cling wrap, and foil. Our kitchen is not very big, so we utilized the top of the refrigerator. Story 99. Ground coffee, green bin liners, part of a roll of duct tape, and random clutter that we have not found a home for but cannot throw away. Also, probably some cat hair. Story 100. Kitchen roll and replacement water filters. Go ahead. Story 101. Sharpies will be well equipped to make their shopping lists moving forward. Story 102. They are going home empty-handed. There is nothing up there. Story 103. Box of cereal. Can of coffee. It is good coffee, though, so there is that. Story 104. Air fryer, mini food processor, small blender, coffee, French press, Costco pack of baking soda, cat treats. Story 105. A tub of tomato paste, 2 bottles of English sparkling water, 4 cans of fruit juice, 2 cans of cola. Story 106. Dust and old thermoses that, to be fair, are in great shape since I do not think I have used them more than once. Story 107. My wife has a McDouble that has been there for 2 years. She would think it is brand new. Story 108. Do not be silly. The only thing they will be getting is lead poisoning. Story 109. Scored 2 warehouse bags of Blazin' Buffalo Ranch Doritos, some abandoned pita chips, and a stack of dust-protected insulated paper bags. Story 110. That weird expired jar of pickles. What is the strangest thing on your refrigerator? Story 111. A toaster that only sometimes works and a box of regular store vitamins and painkillers. Story 112. Half a box of Frosted Flakes and a 2-pound bag of rice. I am 5 feet 2 inches tall, so I do not keep much up there. Story 113. If you really need those leftover fast food condiments and plastic utensils, you can have them. There are always more sporks and chicken nugget sauces. Story 114. A vase with flowers that my coworkers sent to my stepdad's funeral. Story 115. Oatmeal, an old blender, and 2 limited edition mugs from Sesame Place. I would actually be quite upset about the mugs. Story 116. Some decent cookbooks, a champagne cooler, and a catering roll of parchment that is too big for the drawer. Story 117. Cat treats and a model sailboat with fully functional rigging. Story 118. A bunch of screen protectors and some tattoo gun tips. So that is where those are. Story 119. They have my chocolate stash and the annoying squeaky dog toy I threw up there when my son was testing my patience. Story 120. Some paper plates, spoons, an old box of cones, and some ice pops. Thank you for cleaning up my fridge. Story 121. All the bubbly sparkling water my pregnant wife was obsessed with until she decided it actually tastes like pomegranate stale feet. Story 122. No idea. I have not seen the top of my refrigerator in over 10 years. Story 123. Not my air fryer and whatever toys my children are using to hit each other. Story 124. They are going to get a vintage Keebler Treehouse cookie jar and a California raisin figure. Story 125. A custom-made full-scale reproduction of Pyramid Head's helmet based on the original PlayStation 2 model dimensions. Story 126. Dry erase markers, cat brush, empty egg cartons, a random vase, broken bobblehead. Not my house, just the one I am currently in. Story 127. A dirty air fryer that my teenager does not clean regularly. Story 128. Lots of dust, a powder board, a fridge shelf, and I think a roll of tape. Story 129. I have the most disgusting thing known to man on top of my fridge. Herbal, nicotine-free cigarettes. Story 130. Broken lava lamp, dried flowers, Mac Tools hat, and a partially painted ceramic unicorn. Story 131. A sculpture of a killer mutant monster snow goon from Calvin and Hobbes. Story 132. Snack basket full of crackers, cereal bars, and old mints. A couple of Gatorade bottles that did not fit in the fridge. Half a box of ice pops, the cheap ones that you snip the top off and then squeeze the flavored ice up. A small notepad and teacup with pens for my grocery lists. Story 133. A box of small bags of Lay's chips, 2 water bottles, and the toaster. Story 134. There is only about 1.5 inches between the fridge top and the cabinet above it, so they got a few serving trays, a cutting board, and a yardstick. Story 135. Some Coca-Cola Zero, Polar Seltzer, some cereal, mini wheats, and my vegetable chop. Story 136. 2 empty Bell's Oberon mini kegs and a bag of potato chips. Story 137. A bread box, some Brita filters, and a bottle of 99 bananas from that one time I made banana pudding. Story 138. Absolutely massive plastic and metal bowls used for making Korean fermented vegetables. Story 139. A spider plant, a basket with a rope tied to it so I can lower it to the patio below, a plastic jug, and a galactic gripper. Fun for all. Story 140. One of the trays inside the refrigerator and a box of cereal. Maybe a bowl. Story 141. Taxidermy cougar head, empty Christmas cookie tin, box full of grandmother's plates and flatware. Story 142. Gasp. My gin, vodka, and red wine. I am clutching my pearls. Story 143. Kids' coloring books, markers, crayons, and a shelf for the refrigerator we do not use. Story 144. Oh no, my precious collection of empty egg trays and boxes. What will I do? Story 145. A bunch of dust, a lid to a Tupperware container, lost the bottom about 15 years ago, and probably an old refrigerator magnet or something. Story 146. Depending on the time of the year, homemade marmalade is available. Otherwise, nothing. Story 147. My dad's ashes, a stale box of cereal, and some bills I have not cared to look at. I hope they pay the bills at least. Story 148. Like what is actually on top of my refrigerator or the cabinet above my refrigerator? If it is literally on top of the refrigerator, there is some dust and the tool to take the doors off the refrigerator. If it is the cabinet above the refrigerator, there are some crackers, water filters, some aluminum pans, and maybe old cake mix that got pushed to the back of the cabinet. Story 149. A plant. Some empty lunch boxes and plastic bags from the store. Story 150. My fridge is inside a cabinet, so its top acts as a safe. Keep my toy there. Story 151. A cork ball my physiotherapist gave me that I roll my feet with while things cook in the microwave. It is kept on top of the fridge to keep it out of reach of our large dogs. Story 152. There is a 1-inch gap between the top of my refrigerator and a cabinet. So good luck getting in there to clean any dust or dead insects that have accumulated. Story 153. Empty egg cartons are placed there until we go to get fresh eggs from the local farm and bring the empties back to reuse them. Story 154. Some cast iron skillets, some of which are very old. Damn. Story 155. Microwave oven, kitchen scale, half bottle of vinegar, some air fryer liners, a small bottle of soap bubble liquid, anti-spill dome for the microwave, coffee filters, and half a bottle of salmiakki kosu. And loads of dust. Story 156. My electric kettle and a container of dead batteries that I have never figured out how to dispose of. Story 157. Sorry, Mom. I guess I am not better about losing the food storage containers you send home with me. Story 158. Kitchen towels, a plastic bucket, and a steel wok. Have fun with those. Story 159. If they choose my garage deep freeze, they receive instructions for the garage opener and the pole for my attic stairs. Story 160. No, my cat Inky. That is her favorite spot to watch over the kitchen. Story 161. My dad's lunchbox, cleaning solution in a spray bottle, empty containers my mom keeps, including egg cartons and sour cream containers. Story 162. 2 fly swatters, a box with one of those julienne cutter tools in it, and a wooden board I used to put hot trays on. Story 163. 3 bags of tiny dog training treats. I was using regular-sized treats until my dog gained 8 pounds. 1 bag of cannabidiol calming dog treats. These will probably be there permanently as my dog does not seem to like them. A box of Simparica Trio flea, tick, and heartworm treatment for extra large dogs, weighing 81 to 130 pounds. Half a bag of stale hot dog buns, a 12-count box of Orville Redenbacher movie theater butter microwave popcorn, and 3 plastic chip clips. I ate all the chips and have made a vow not to replace them. The dog is not the only one around here who has gained weight. That is not a bad haul if you are a dog person. The Simparica alone costs a fortune. All of the aforementioned items are kept in 2 sharp-looking black baskets to make the area look more organized. I guess the lucky thief gets the basket too. Unlike many Reddit users, I am proud to say that the top of my refrigerator is pretty clean, since the appliances were moved and got a good scrubbing when I painted the kitchen recently. Story 164. It is a very thin space before the cupboard above it. We have recipes, the bread maker manual, and a chopping board where I poured resin to create a decorative charcuterie board that I now dislike. You can have it. Story 165. Dust and cat hair. I can't keep anything on top of my refrigerator because 2 of my 6 cats use it to get on top of the kitchen cabinets to sleep. Story 166. The waffle maker, which we thought would allow us to have fresh waffles all the time, is actually difficult to clean and takes up too much counter space. It is only brought out to be used once every few hundred years when the craving for waffles strikes, as frozen and delivery options tend to be too soggy. Story 167. One 14-pound angry cat named Zeus, also known as Zeus the Moose. Story 168. All my cookbooks, a large jug of vegetable oil and raisin bran. Story 169. Chips, popcorn, and the aluminum foil I just bought. Story 170. Aluminum foil, cling wrap, zipper storage bags, mixing bowls, pitchers. Story 171. A broken coffee cup filled with sharpened wooden pencils and a lot of dust. Story 172. Cereal 3 months past the use-by date, microwave popcorn, stale crackers, and a mostly full bottle of lavender syrup. Story 173. 14 boxes of Otter Pops with only the orange and grape flavors remaining. Story 174. They would score a pretty sweet Viking helmet, spectacled, not horned, with an associated chainmail coif, a pair of antlers, and a basket containing some medicinal herbs such as ashwagandha. Good score in my opinion, though far from my most valuable items. Story 175. Crumble cookies and some edible products. Those individuals. Story 176. I do not have a cupboard and have limited cabinet space. Therefore, I keep canned and boxed goods on top of my refrigerator. Story 177. Crockpot, coffee, and Sharps container with diabetic lancets. Story 178. My iced honey buns I hide from the kids. Stay away. Story 179. A telescoping fly swatter, a bag of Toyota ignition coil connectors, and the shield for my ice dispenser. I will never financially recover from this. Story 180. My power saw. My refrigerator does not fit in my house, so it is in the garage. Story 181. My dog's pig ears. I doubt the burglar will make it to the door. Story 182. My cat and a party platter, a large serving tray she likes to sleep on. Story 183. Those individuals stole my roommate's fruit-filled pastry snacks and my neodymium magnets. Story 184. My empty lunchbox, protein powder, and psyllium husk powder. Story 185. A basket of mangoes about 15 kilograms from the tree outside my house. Story 186. They can try to take my air fryer, but it will not be without a fight. Story 187. The water filter for the ice maker. Have fun with that. Almost as good as the porch pirate who took a Scrabble dictionary from me. Story 188. No, not my dust bunny collection. Who would do such a horrible thing? Story 189. A steel wire basket to carry up to 4 half-gallon glass milk bottles. Story 190. Nothing. My refrigerator is built in. I suppose they could steal the compressor and copper lines. Story 191. They are going to have many Chinese takeout menus and macaroni noodles. I hope they choke on them. Story 192. Plants. My wife is going to hunt them down John Wick style. Story 193. A lot of dust and a freestanding carbon monoxide detector. Story 194. Karma farming. This question has been asked before. Story 195. Someone got my Glade Pure cans of pumpkin spice, a bottle of Deep Woods Off, and half a can of butane. Story 196. A one-eyed polydactyl tortoiseshell cat named Dora. Some years ago, she claimed the top of the refrigerator as her own. She comes down to eat and use the litter box, but that is about all. Story 197. Change jar is on top of the refrigerator and the blender. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.